welcome back to Bill and the Boys. Time for a weekly catch-up, finally back on Wednesday. So I'm back to where I should be, and I'm happy about that. It's been a weird week for me. I don't know how your week's gone, but mine's been weird. I had a lovely weekend where the kids were at scout camp, so it was just me and my wife, and it was bliss. It was quiet. It was bliss. It was so nice. It's going to be like a very big contrast to how this bank holiday weekend's going to be, where I'm sure it's just going to be chaos and mayhem. New models this week. So there are two to talk about. These are quite common knowledge now, so this isn't like anything groundbreaking, but these are out there. So coming up first from IXO. Now this is slightly unusual because IXO normally, it's a full kit. Whereas this is a subscription model. So you get 2 packs a month for, I want to say it's 96 quid, which works out about normal. It's about 47 quid a pack, I think, but you get 2 a month, which is quite a lot. You get 8 parts a month. And it's the Lancia. It's this one here. Perfectly nice, perfectly lovely rally car. I mean, it's not for me. We've spoken about it before, why things like that aren't for me. I'll talk about how, but there's another one as well. There's one, right? Well, I was going to say there's two. There's one, right? So Agora have pulled another cloak off, and they have this one. So that is the 2013 LaFerrari. LaFerrari. Now, something that drives me insane about that car is when it's referred to as the LaFerrari, or the LaFerrari. That's what I said, the Ferrari. That drives me insane. The LaFerrari makes grammatically no sense at all. It's just LaFerrari. The LaFerrari is mental. But so you can get that one. That's LaFerrari from 2013. It's a gorgeous example of a Ferrari, I will say this. I mean, I've seen a 2013 LaFerrari, and they are beautiful. And that one's all singing or dancing. It's got all the bells and whistles, so it's got the gull wing doors that will open automatically. They're electric. Beautiful. Now, this is, I don't know, man. This is a stretch for me. So there is a second option for that one. And it's this one. So it's exactly the same, but it's in Daytona black, noir, if you will. Okay. What do you think? Okay, can I choose which one? Kind of, yes, you can. Now, the noir version is limited to 150, so there's only 150 of those available. And it's an extra... It's an extra 30 quid a month if you want it in black, which seems, I don't know, man. And also, if you want the privilege of having the black one, your initial outlay is a lot more. So the red LaFerrari is $119.99 a month, which is already quite bloody high. If you want the limited edition, you have to pay an initial $599.99 for the first 3 packs. I know, right? And then it's $149.99 a month. It's a hard pass from Scott. I'm like, no way. If you're a Ferrari guy and you can't own a Ferrari, it's the closest you're going to get to it. So I understand if anybody wants to build it. I'm not knocking anyone who wants to build it. But for me, no, I'm not a car guy. This is the weird thing, right? So, I mean, I've not built loads of cars. I've built vehicles, obviously. But the vehicles that I'm attracted to are pop culture things. So it's the Tumbler. It's the Route it's the Titanic, which I'm pretty sure aren't necessarily pop culture, but they're iconic. And they have stories behind them. Ferrari is a Ferrari. You know, that's what it is. And if you're a car guy, if you're big into your luxury cars and your sports cars, you're going to be all over it. But I'm not. I'm a movie guy. I'm a history guy. So I kind of, that's what I like. I like, you know, if they did the Love Bug, right? If they did Herbie, I'd want it, right? I'd be like, I want that one. But if they just did a VW Bug, I'd be like, I ain't interested. That's what I've got going on. That's how I'd be. Even though it is Herbie, and you could just do your own colorway on it, like that ain't Herbie. If it was released as a Herbie, I'd want it. That's how mental mine is, and it's kind of like with Ferrari. If it was like the one from Miami Vice, I'd be like, oh, the Miami Vice Ferrari. I'm sure was it a Lamborghini Miami Vice? I might be wrong. It might have been Magnum that drove the Ferrari. I can't remember. But if it was Magnum's Ferrari or whatever it was, I'd want it. But if it was just a random... No, I ain't interested. It's true. It's like if they released Ecto 1 and it wasn't Ecto 1. If it was just the Miller Meteor, I'd be like, I don't want that. Like, but this one's Ecto 1, I want it. That's how it is. That's just how I am, and that's where it is. And I don't know, there's something weird for me about a black Ferrari. Ferraris are red. Right, that's if you hear Ferrari, you think red, don't you? I mean, it always bothers me when I see a Ferrari in a different colour. I saw a yellow Ferrari, and I'm like, why, man? Red, it's a Ferrari red. One of the most heartbreaking things I've ever seen. This is an example of this, right? And honestly, I've never wanted to. I'm not a violent man, but I've never wanted to punch someone that didn't really deserve to be punched more than a dude I once saw at a car show that owned a DeLorean that he'd had painted red. So the whole DeLorean was red. And I was like, why would you do that to a DeLorean? And it hadn't been time machined, and his whole thing was, oh no, I don't like the movie. But he owned a DeLorean. And I'm like, this is insanity. But yeah, that's kind of, I don't know, man. I think next to eating a hot dog with a knife and fork, or making a cup of soup in a bowl, those things that just seem wrong. And a red DeLorean, no. And a black Ferrari's got that going on for me as well. I'm like, nah, man, Ferraris are red. Ran over. Personally, new models coming off the channel. We will have this weekend the latest Row Life book nooks. So for those of you into your book nooks, we have built 4 of the 2022. So we built all 4 of them. And I love them. I think they're gorgeous. I really do. There is a 5th one that will be up on the channel this weekend that's just been released. Well, I say it's just been released. It's been out for a while, but availability over here only just. So we were building it, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not blown away by it, but I'm gonna build the next ones as well, because I've decided to take a gamble on these because I enjoy building them so much. I didn't want to build Magic House. Okay, so initially I thought, because for me it felt a little bit too much like a Harry Potter ripoff, not an homage to it, a ripoff of Diagon Alley, and I thought that seems a bit skeezy. I don't like this. I think this is like a knockoff. So I was dead against it, but I wanted to. I'm a completist, like anyone who's a collector. You're like, well, I can't buy 3 and not the 4th. So I actually ended up buying Magic House first. I thought I'd get out of the way. Because an offer came up on it on Amazon, but just like I thought, I've got it. It was like 17 quid. It was reduced from 45 quid to 17 quid. And I thought, well, if I'm going to do it, now's the time. Bought it, loved it. Absolutely love Magic House. I think it's great. So I was really happy with it. So I thought, you know what? I need to, because my mind's changed. My mind's flipped backwards and forwards. With the book nooks, there are ones I thought I was going to love and didn't. And there are ones I thought I wasn't going to like, but that actually became my favourites. So I thought, you know what? I am doing the next run of book nooks. The plan is I'm going to do all of the book nooks that Row Life do, regardless of how I feel about them. Because I just like them. I love them. I think they're gorgeous little things. These little dioramas. I think they're great. So the new one's called Fallen Secura. And what bothered me about it is they've already done a Secura Denture, it was called. And it was the one with the little train and the Secura Blossoms for. You've already done a Secura Blossom book nook. So why do another one? That kind of, I thought it's too similar to the other one, but it isn't at the same time. So whereas with Secura Denture, it's more residential. So you can see there's like a house and there's air conditioners, there's a train in the background, there's a river. That's what's going on with that one. With this one, it's almost like an anime thing. So it looks a little cutesy, if I'm honest. But there is a girl in there and a little cat, and there's all kinds of things going on. But there's some very interesting elements with the waterfall and that haven't been used in one of these book nooks before. So I might actually love it. And I think the Secura is what put me off. I just thought, another Secura. But this one seems to be a lot more Japanese themed. There's a pagoda in it and things like that. And I thought, okay, so this is a lot more kind of traditional sort of Japanese. And it has, as I said, it's got a bit of an anime vibe going to it. It seems a little cartoony, but we'll see. We'll see what it's like. And there are more coming. So, yeah, I won't go into detail, but I had a conversation with the people at Rolife, which I'll explain more about later on. But I had a conversation with them about, how many more are coming. And I know how many more are coming, but I've promised I keep my mouth shut. And I know what the next one is as well. And again, I've kind of promised to keep my mouth shut for a little bit, not forever, but I know what the next one's going to be. So there is another one coming after this one, and I know what it is. But I've said I'll keep my gob shut for a little bit, but soon enough, everything will all be revealed. But they're really nice. I love them. And if you haven't built something from Rolife or Roker yet, do, honestly, because they're so much fun. And you can get something for every ability. So you can go hardcore and you can build a pinball machine, which we spoke about this before. That thing's beautiful. I've seen it running. I was dead against it for a while. The thing is too big. I don't want it. Now I kind of really want it. But it's expensive. And I'm thinking, I don't know. Because even though I really want it and I really want to build it, I think, where the bloody hell am I going to put it? Would I use it? Or am I just, I don't know. So it's a tough one. But you can get little ones. You can get tiny little Roker builds of guitars and musical instruments. You can get ones of tiny little vehicles. You can get ones of JCBs and bulldozers. And then you can get ones of the robots, do steampunk ones, or do the amusement rides. You can get so many, and they're so much fun, honestly. I used to really like the wind-up ones, which they've moved away from. And I was dead against that at first. And so I've seen what they have done with the electrics, and some of them are gorgeous. But I used to like how the clockwork worked. Watching all the gears and whatnot work from just turning the key was amazing. But I can't recommend them enough. And honestly, if you look around, you'll get some absolute bargains. I've got one down here that I said, this used to be mounted to the wall in the old build room. But I've got the shotgun. So this was a rubber band shotgun that it was so cool. You can fire rubber bands with it, but it's I haven't got any rubber bands in at the moment. But it was so much fun to make, and you can kind of see how detailed this is. And it was so much fun. It was an absolute blast, pun intended, to make. And I've got a couple of the other ones as well. So I've got they did the revolver. I've got most of the Roker builds. I did a lot of them long before we started the channel. I was building these. I've done a hell of a lot of them. What did we do on this week? So we built the Disney Dolls house this week. We built the latest 4 of those, and it's over here now. So the second floor, it's not complete. I wouldn't say it's complete, but definitely the frame, the structure, and the walls is. So all of the kind of the inner walls, the outer walls are now in. All we've already got to do to the second floor is we've got to add some detailing, the windows, the staircase, and the ceilings, and that's it. We're done. So I mean, remarkably, that's gone up really quick. So we've flown up with that one, and I know that's going to be the same as well for floor 3. Floor 3 flies up. So it's I'm looking forward to it. I really am. It's gorgeous. And if you watched last week's catch-up video where I showed you the work that was done by Costume Ken, I've tried to convince him to a YouTube channel, and he has, right? And I'm so pleased that he has, because he builds these little things for the Disney Dolls house, because Ken's trying to put something from every single Disney movie in his Dolls house. So there are a lot of Disney movies that are kind of omitted. So Sleeping Beauty isn't in there. Snow White isn't in there. Pinocchio isn't. So these are the kind of big ones that don't really get mentioned in the Dolls house. And Ken is making little things for it, and his work is great. And it's he's doing tutorials now. So he's new to YouTube, but I'm going to put a link to his channel in the description below. Swing by, check his videos out. He's only done 2. He's new, so be nice. But show him some support. Give him a like, give him a subscribe if you can, because he's a good one to know, Ken. Because again, if you need, how do I do one of these? Ken knows. Ken's very good at this. Very good at this. And these are Simple crafts, but done expertly. They're done really well. So check Ken's channel out and hit the like button on his videos and give him a subscribe. He deserves it. He's a good guy, Ken. He's been good for our little Dolls House community, and I have loved building that Dolls House. I really have. It's been so much fun. Some of the models, they piss you off. You get them and you kind of like, ugh, and it's just a frustration. I've never had that with the Doll's House. I mean, with the exception of one issue, I had to make some bunting, hated it. And the books are a little But other than that, it's just been a joy to build. You get so much each month. Very rarely do you get kind of a lean issue. I mean, this month we didn't have loads, but it still made an impact. Whereas other Partworks we do, you get ones where you don't get loads and it makes no impact on the model and you're like, okay. Whereas it seems everything with the Doll's House, even if it's not much for the build, you'll get some decent furniture and whatnot for the house. And it's just been an absolute joy to build. And I'll be very sad to see it finish. I kind of hope another Doll's House comes along. I'm not building the Moomin house. For me, the Moomins are the spawn of the devil and should be burnt at the stake so we can watch their witches' hearts bubble. But it's just how I feel about the Moomins. If you were a young child in the 80s, you're going to feel the same. The Moomins was creepy as hell, man. It really was. But I'm going to miss not building a Doll's House. So I'm kind of hoping another Doll's House comes along. Now, I know there is the Peter Pan... I keep calling it Peter Pan. The Peter Rabbit house is currently running in Japan. And by the time we finish this, they'll finish with that. And it makes me wonder if that's going to be released over here. Because it's a very British thing. I mean, it's Beatrix Potter, it's Peter Rabbit. I would imagine it is. But that one's hardcore. So that one involves painting everything. That's a more traditional style modelling. So you've got to paint the lot. So when it comes to the fruit, you paint it. You have to lay the grass. You have to, I mean, it's a lot. So as opposed to the Disney Doll's House where you'll get a door and you sort of glue two parts together, you're building the entire door, you're building the hinges. And so it's a smaller house, but it's a much more involved build. And the detail's really there. So who knows, maybe that one launch might do it again. But I miss not doing a Doll's House. I've really enjoyed it, really enjoyed it. I'm still going for bloody ages. I've still got way over a year left in that one. So it'll be nice. It'll be fun. It will. What are we watching? We watched A Knock at the Cabin, featuring Dave Bautista. It's the latest M. Night Shyamalan film. I can't tell you really anything about it without spoiling it. What I can tell you is worth watching. I read the book of this about 3 years ago, and it is different to the book. So there are, and he did this before as well. So Shyamalan's ideas used to be his ideas. Now he seems to be adapting books. Because if you watched Old, which is where they're trapped on the beach and they all start aging, that was based on a graphic novel, a French graphic novel I'd read years before, and that's got a wildly different ending to the movie. So I was kind of expecting the same thing to happen with A Knock at the Cabin. Here's the poster for Knock at the Cabin. It's suitably creepy, and Batista's fantastic in it. It gives him a chance to sort of act, which, I mean, he doesn't really get a chance to do. He normally plays the big scary guy, and he is the big scary guy in this, but he's very softly spoken. Leonard, his name is in this, and he's a nice guy. He's got to do something horrendous, but he's very apologetic, and he's a very nice guy, and you can see that a burden has landed on him. And it's, without spoiling it, the plot of the story is that there is a couple and their daughter are vacationing in a cabin, and there's a knock at the door. And it's Batista and his three colleagues, and they explain to them that the day of reckoning is coming, that the world's going to end unless the three of them choose one of them to sacrifice. And then it stops. So all the terrible things that are going to happen in the world will stop if the three of them choose one of them to sacrifice. And it's suitably heartbreaking. It's a very traumatizing film, but it's a good movie. It's a good thriller. But again, I read the book, and the book is far more brutal than the movie. The book really goes horrendous, whereas the movie doesn't. The movie sort of scales back, which I found slightly surprising, but I enjoyed it. I've always liked Shyamalan. I mean, he went through that really dodgy patch where he did Lady in the Water and Mark Wahlberg and The Killer Plants. I mean, oh man, he did The Last Airbender as well, didn't he? Let's not talk about that one. Oh God, and that thing with Will Smith and Jaden Smith. Yeah, he went through a rough patch, man. But I'd say since he did Devil, which is where they're all trapped in the elevator, loved that one. I liked Split. Didn't think much of Glass. But I like Shyamalan. I've always liked Shyamalan. I have, but I mean, he did have that dodgy period, didn't he? Where just. Yeah. But he's made some good ones, made some really good ones, and this is worth your time. So we watched it on. We got it from Sky Store. I said the kids were. We watched a movie. Can't recommend it enough. I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it, and you will as well. And if you like Batista, you'll like this because he's great in it. I mean, it's hard not to see him as Drax anymore, but it was a good one. It was a really good one. Coming up on the channel, Infinity Gauntlet has shipped. We had news today that Infinity Gauntlet has shipped. I'm not expecting that this weekend. I'm expecting that next weekend. So next week, I think probably Friday, Saturday, possibly Monday because the bank holiday. I'm expecting us to get Infinity Gauntlet. This weekend, I'm expecting Tumblr. I'm expecting Tumblr any day now. It could be as early as tomorrow. But I reckon if it's going to come this week, it's going to come Saturday. Because, and the reason why I say this, we get the mug. And typically when they give you the mug, it's in a bigger box. And they really go for the cheapest form of transport they can when that happens. I'm not that bothered about the mug. The mug looks like an Easter egg mug. It's not something like, okay, the sort of thing that comes with a chocolate egg, a kid's mug, but it is what it is. But that should be here this week, and we will be doing 6 parts. It's the first one we received 6 parts. What I can tell you now, exactly as what I told you the last time, if you are a Tumblr subscriber, and Hachette is now telling you that your next pack is shipping on the 22nd of June. It isn't, okay? Their system is set up to once one's gone, it just leaps forwards 4 weeks and says this is when the next one's going to happen. They haven't adapted it to count for the 6 weeks. So as I said, our Tumblr shipped on the 19th. Even though the website was saying that our Tumblrs were shipping on the 5th, they shipped on the 19th. This is the same. Right, so take that June the 22nd, tack 2 weeks onto it, and that is when your Tumblr's going to ship. You're not going to get a Tumblr delivery in June. If you are, it's going to be like literally the dying days of June. You'd be looking at like the 29th, 30th of June, maybe. It's more likely your next Tumblr delivery after this one will be the first week of July. That's likely when that's going to happen. It is confusing, but you'll adapt to it. It's fine. So we get 6 issues in the next one. We are mainly building... I say we're mainly building. I can't confirm that. All we know that we're getting is in the next 4. We know we're getting the other arm to hold the wheel that's going on to the bulkhead. We know about that. So that one's in 11. In 12, we get very little to do with the dashboard. So we're going to add some panels to the dashboard. 13, same again. 2 more panels going to the dashboard and the bottom screws onto the dashboard. 14, we get the cockpit floor. Now, I don't know... Don't get excited about that. That's not the chassis. That's the cockpit floor, right? Now, if you built the DeLorean or you built the Ecto 1, you built the kind of the cockpit and then you put it into the car. So this isn't the chassis. This is the cockpit floor. So this is probably going to be a plastic floor that's going to screw onto a chassis later on. That's what we get in this one, I believe. So don't get excited you think you're getting chassis. We're not getting chassis. So the plastic bit you might be getting might be this big. So if you're thinking, wow, probably not. You're probably going to get a piece about that big that this bolts onto. But, it is what it is. We don't know what's coming in 15. We don't know what's coming in 16. We won't know until they turn up, really. So that's going to be interesting. 13 is in the shops tomorrow. So subscribers are going to jump 3 ahead. So what's going to happen is the newsagent people will go 3 ahead of the subscribers, and then the subscribers will get their packs and go 3 ahead of the newsagent people, and this is how it's going to be until the end, I guess. So that's the way that's going to work. But Tumblr should be with us this week, and I'm looking forward to that. I really am. I've got no news on Lancaster Bomber. I don't know. Lancaster Bomber, I was told, was coming earlier than the normal one. So Lancaster Bomber, I thought was going to be like their January release. They normally do this with it launches just after Christmas, then January, here it is. I thought that's what they were going to do with Lancaster Bomber. Apparently not. Apparently that's going to launch around about September, October. I can't see that. And I think I've been given wrong wrong news by the Hachette people. I might be wrong. I spoke to a girl at Hachette. That's what she said. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not buying it. It might, because I believe Eddie Stobart did. I believe Eddie Stobart was like a September October launch. So it might be this year. And it might be September October. I just think it's going to be. I can see it being the January one. If it isn't, I can see. Yeah, if it isn't, I can see them doing September, October, and then maybe come January, you'd get the Batman if they do the Batman. Because again, I can see them backing up on these big figs because the Alien has not been received well. There's been a lot of complaints about the Alien. There's a lot of unhappy customers with the Alien. And it's a contender for worst model of the year, I think, the Alien. I think the Alien is to 2023 what the Spitfire was to 2022 at this point. There's a lot of very unhappy Alien customers out there. I think it looks nice, but those Aliens all appear to be the world's slowest forward flip, and then eventually over they go. So yeah, there's that. I mean, I don't know. I liked it. I thought it looked nice. I did, but I'm glad I didn't do it. And there's been a lot of backlash to it. So I wouldn't be surprised if Batman's the same. I wouldn't be surprised if Batman decides, he's going to start diving off work services in France at some point, and then maybe they'll rethink what they're doing. I don't know, but we'll see. But that's what I've heard. I've heard that the Lancaster bomb is supposed to be September, October, and I can't see it. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm wrong, but maybe go, well, you were wrong. I'm like, good. That means I get it earlier. What have we got coming up? So we've got the book nook coming up, which I spoke about. We do also have, I keep saying I'm going to do it. I've done half of it. I'll talk about The Lost Boys. So I will be talking about my 10 favourite movies. We'll be doing a video on each one of them. This comes from the Ask Me Anything. So my 10 favourite movies are The Lost Boys, King Kong, Back to the Future, Gremlins, Ghostbusters, The Thing, Pulp Fiction, Saturday Night Fever, The Warriors, and Jaws. Those are my 10 favourite movies. We'll be doing a video about each of them. It's not going to be like a breakdown of them. This is how they shot this scene and blah, 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 blah. That's not what this is going to be. There's plenty of that out there if that's what you want. It's purely why I like it and why I recommend it. That's what it's going to be, what I like about it, when I watched it, how I watched it, why I watched it, what made me love it. Because, there's at least 2 on this list that when I first watched it, I was like, eh. And I'm just like, nah, and it wasn't one of my favourites. And then years later, watched it and thought, God, this is amazing. I think that's the sign of a good film. You can watch it a second time and see something else, and watch it a third time and feel a different way about it. So it's it's all that. Unfortunately, that's having a negative effect with Quantum Mania, because it turns out Ant-Man Quantum people that actually liked it the first time round and now watching it the second time going, God, this is bloody awful. And the people that hated it the first time round are really hating it on the second watch. So it's like, sometimes you should leave well enough alone. Video gamers out there, by all accounts, in the next month, we're going to get an announcement about Grand Theft Auto 6. So if you're a Grand Theft Auto player, Grand Theft Auto 6 is due to be announced in the next month, I believe. Now, I can't see it. They're saying that this thing's going to be in stores for September of this year. There's no way. There's no way that's going to happen. I see this being summer next year at the earliest. I cannot see that. I can't see that there's been no mention of it to all of a sudden it's in stores this Christmas. No, can't see it. Just can't. Now, I know there has been leaks. So there have been leaks of the actual in-game footage of what was a work in progress. And it looked amazing when it was a work in progress. But who knows? But bizarrely, and this is totally true, in September this year, it will be 10 years since Grand Theft Auto 5 was released. 10 years. To say they've dragged their heels releasing 6 would be an understatement, wouldn't it? Now, I know Grand Theft Auto 5 Online was making them an absolute boatload of cash, so there was no real reason to kill that cash cow when it was just raking in so much money, but that's kind of dropped off now. So it makes sense that 6 would then appear, and then 6 Online will make them an absolute bloody fortune. But who knows? Because, the thing is, if you spent 10 years doing something, it better be bloody spectacular when you release it. Otherwise, people got 10 years for this, really? So we'll see. I'm a big Grand Theft Auto guy. I absolutely love Grand Theft Auto. I do. I go right back to PS1 when the first Grand Theft Autos were, and even the bonus disc. People old enough to remember this, you could get Grand Theft Auto London '69, where you'd have to put that disc. No, you wouldn't. You put that disc in first. You'd have to take it out, then put the original Grand Theft Auto disc in, so you could play London '69. It was top down. It wasn't like it is now. It was tough, man. Like, you'd get police wanteds for just bumping into things. Imagine that on normal Grand Theft Auto. You hit a lamppost and you get police wanted already. It would be impossible to play. But that's what happened. So we have Infinity Gauntlet coming up next week. That's almost a shoe-in for next weekend. We have Tumblr coming up this weekend, I hope. Titanic, amazingly, ships on Friday. So Titanic ships out on Friday. There is a bank holiday weekend, so I'm not expecting Titanic next week. I'm expecting it midweek the week after. I'm expecting it a week Wednesday. 2 weeks tomorrow, that's what I'm expecting. It's 2 weeks tomorrow I'm expecting Titanic to turn up. And we're getting more hull with that one, so that'll be nice. Because the hull's really starting to grow now, and it's gonna look lovely, that. We'll talk about light bleed on that one as well, because there's been complaint about light bleed, and just paint it. You don't need to paint it. I've shown you how to sort light bleed out, and you can do it with a roll of electric tape. That's all you need. You don't need to paint anything. You don't need to paint it. Electric tape, it's easy. Electric tape and a pair of scissors, job done. Job solved. That's all you need to do. So you've put nothing irreparable on it, because you can just peel it off and put it back where you need it to go. And it's simple. I'll show you how to do it. That's all from me. Oh God, one last thing. I advised you all to watch the Rootmaster aficionados to watch Inside Number 9 for the Rootmaster episode, and then they pulled a bait and switch. So that episode wasn't on, right? It was a bait and switch. It was a trick. It was a twist, as Inside Number 9 did. It turns out that episode that I showed you the images of doesn't even exist. They just made press stills for it. They made a poster for it. The whole thing doesn't exist. As an episode, it doesn't exist. It was done purely so they could completely sucker punch you with the episode they showed, which was a very bizarre, very creepy game show. That one's worth watching if you haven't seen it. It's worth going to watch. Seems like a very normal game show, but keep your eyes and ears open as you watch it, and you'll start to see things aren't quite as they seem. It was a good one. That's all from me. If you have any questions, send us your questions through to buildingtheboys@outlook.com. We will be back on Wednesday. I haven't been able to fit everything I wanted to in this one. I have got some pictures of work that's been sent in, of Titanic. So I've got pictures of R2-D2s that have been sent in. They will be on the next one, I promise you. I want to get enough of those so we can do a lot of them rather than just one set of them. We've got a fairly chunky section. If I keep getting as many as I'm getting, rather than doing it, we'll still do the catch-up. I think we'll have a Your Work video as well, where it'll just be, that's what we do as well as the catch-up. So we will have those coming up. We've got, again, I just keep saying it, it just sounds like a lie now. The Chocolate Factory video at some point I will do. We've finished R2-D2. We'll be looking at him as well, and a few other bits and pieces. We'll also be doing the video on our first movie, The Lost Boys. So if you've not seen The Lost Boys yet, watch The Lost Boys and then swing by and check out the video. Or if you're thinking, why would I watch The Lost Boys? Watch the video, then go watch The Lost Boys. It's a lot of fun. It's a great film. That's all from me. In a world where you can be anything at all, just be nice. And I will see you very, very soon for more from Building with the Boys. I'll catch you then.